So, what's that?
All right.
Is that a movie now?
So, tell me from day one.
Do what?
Tell me about your life from day one.
Well, I was born at a very early age.
Where at?
Huh?
Where were you born?
Montgomery, Ohio.
But what hospital?
Christ Hospital. Went to Montgomery Grade School, Sycamore High School, Ohio State University for a year. Was taking animal, at that time they called it animal husbandry, which was called animal science now. And then I went to the Marine Corps and was a heavy equipment operator. And
What was your rank?
sergeant.
4 years?
Hmm?
4 years?
No, it was 7 years, but I only did active duty for like 2.5. But I enlisted for 4, and then they tacked on another 3. So it was 7. I was in 7 years altogether. But only on active duty for 3.5. I mean 2.5. I guess they couldn't stand me. And then when I got out, I went to work for the telephone company. Well, I started digging basements with a front end loader for a guy, and he was supposed to be paying me a percentage, and so he expected me to run it all day and run around all night and collect bills and so forth, and then he wouldn't pay me either, so I quit him. I had a hard time getting money out of him. I'd call him up and tell him I had a date tonight and I needed $20 or $30, and so I got the rest of my pay out of him that way.
What was his name?
I don't know. He lived over in Blue Ash. I can't think of it. Anyway, then I went to started flying, and well, Bill Linzer and myself bought a T-craft airplane, and neither one of us knew how to fly it. It was at a hangar up on Mason Montgomery Road. It had belonged to a Pontiac dealer who owned the whole field, and he got killed in an airplane going to Florida, got iced up. Anyway, he had two T-crafts, and so Bill and I bought one from his ex-wife, or not ex-wife, but deceased wife, or deceased, anyway.
His widow.
Yeah, and we had to get somebody to fly it from the airport up there down to Lunken so we could take the flying lessons. And anyway, when I learned to fly that T-craft, got my pilot's license, my private pilot's license, I signed up for the GI Bill, and I started flying the bigger airplanes on the GI Bill. And I got my commercial license and my instructor's rating. And meanwhile, I was doing I was working on weekends for Moose out at Blue Ash Airport as kind of a lineman, pushing airplanes in and out and so forth. And all Moose did was sell gas and storage. There wasn't no training there. So when I got my instructor's rating, I made a deal with Moose that I'd pay him like $1 an hour or something for hour that I got that I rented my airplanes, and that's how it got me started flying and commercially. And at that time I still worked for the phone company, and I used to drive from wherever I was working to the Blue Ash Airport at noon to see how things were going. And things were going good, so I got too many. I didn't have enough airplanes, so I bought another airplane. They were both the Champion aircraft, 7 ECs, 90 horsepower. So then I had two airplanes, and it was really busy. And then I was teaching a guy by the name of Gene Wolfe, a contractor, and every morning we'd go to breakfast after we flew. And so one day he wanted me to go to Lincoln and look at an airplane with him, and so I did, and that's when I met Jerry Swart. And I went down there, and Gene ended up buying the airplane. It was a 175 Cessna, and we were only down there about an hour. And all of a sudden it occurred to me that Jerry probably made more money in that hour than I did much teaching Gene how to fly. So I thought, I'm in the wrong end of the business. So I sold my flight school and started selling airplanes.
What was the name of the flight school?
Well, it was Van's Aircraft, and then I kind of got into a deal with a guy named Buford. I forget what his name was. And he turned out to be my angel, so to speak, and we bought airplanes and sold them. And we changed the name changed it to Valera Aircraft. And then later on I did business as Van's Aircraft, and then I got in business with the Piper dealer in Dayton. Skyways was the company, and a guy by the name of Gene Nestle. And then I came back down here. I used to drive to Dayton every day, and then I rented an office down here at Lincoln, and sold Pipers down there at Lincoln Airport. And then got into what they call a fixed base operation. And Ray Foltz became my partner, and we named it Key Aviation because Ray owned a Cadillac Oldsmobile dealership in Monroe, North Carolina by the name of Key Olds Cadillac. So we named it Key Aviation. And it got to be a pretty big deal. We had a lot of instructors and students, and we had like 15 pilots, instructors, trainers. We had a big operation. It was really made Lincoln Airport a big, busy airport. Because anyway, then I did that until 77, and then we sold to Key Aviation, and I just started selling airplanes myself as Van's Aircraft Sales. And then John Fudge worked for me when I was the paper dealer at